Got things going all crazy on me. Welcome everyone to the Wednesday night live show. I got YouTube on one side, Facebook running, this running. I'm like looking around. Everything is like 3 or 4 seconds difference. You know what I mean? So it's like
What day
flash.
is it? What year is it? What time is it? Where are we on? Are we? Is this thing on? Is this
Is this
thing
the
on?
it's the twilight zone? We're in the twilight zone. That's what it felt like this morning. I was in the twilight zone. I was like, okay, somebody, is there another door I can open and go into another dimension? I would be happy for that. But we are back. This is the post midterm election vape show.
John and I are having a runoff.
Yeah, we were having a run up. We're not going to go as to the extremes Phil and Dimitri went yesterday on their show. Did you get a chance to kind of jump in there yesterday, Tim?
And do what?
Listen to Phil and Dimitri's pre midterm election show.
No.
They were talking about who they would and wouldn't sleep with that were running. I was like, okay.
Well, I think that's a reasonable conversation to have because I guess that kind of makes it more real. Because other than that, they're all a bunch of fucking crooks. So.
Well, I hope people are not voting based on attraction. I know that it is a thing. Oh, that's an attractive person.
Well, no, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Just watching the coverage last night, I saw some younger, hungry politicians getting into races, and a lot of them didn't win. So I don't think it's along those lines. I thought Nick had a huge old stogie, but
he's fighting it out. Nick's fighting it out. I sent him that picture of that guy running down the street with the flag in Florida. That is fucking Nick Orlando. He's like, Storm, fuck that. I'm a New Yorker. Yesterday on their show.
Tim had to send me the right link. What'd you do, man?
Yeah, don't count on John for anything.
Well, I was
it's probably last week's.
Yeah, I was hoping, he could make it, but he's dealing with some stuff, and everyone knows.
I'm dealing with a nice vape and a cup of coffee.
And a cup of coffee. Yeah, Nick, do you vote due to attractionness? Are you like that guy's attractive or that girl's attractive? I think I'll vote for them. Did you have a chance to listen to Phil and Dimitri's show yesterday?
No.
They were basing
yesterday
it on
was crazy.
They were basing their votes on attractiveness and who they would sleep with. I was like, okay.
Oh,
yeah. Phil, of course, was like, I would, I would sleep with her because she's attractive, and Dimitri would throw out another candidate, and Phil was like, I wouldn't touch that with, whatever. But yeah, we got lots to talk about. Of course, the big one for me, I mean, it might not affect most of you, but in a way it affects me, and as Proposition 31. And
it affects all of us.
It does affect all of us because it kind of sends a message, I think, to the rest of the states. If California can do it, let's try this. And I was kind of feeling down last night. I even posted something in the chats, like, I'm done this fight. I can't, I'm tired of people pretending that they care. And then this morning I had a buddy of mine, and everyone has that buddy that can kind of tell you're having a fucking shit day, and they know, even though you didn't say anything, they can just kind of look at your face and know you're having a bad day. You guys all have one of those friends, Tim?
Yeah, I do. I have a buddy who's real quick to pick up on my tensions and stuff like that. I mean, when he calls it, I guess it's the tenor of the call as it starts, so he'll be like, calm the fuck down, bro.
Yeah, like on the phone, they can tell by your tone, but like I think he picks up my body language and my tone as well. And he goes, I know what's on your mind. And he goes, I know you feel like shit right now and you're pissed off. And he goes, but look at it this way. He goes, 2 million people voted no. That's, to me, that, and I didn't look at that number. I wasn't paying attention to that number. I was paying attention to the yes votes. And he said, would you have gotten 2 million votes 5 years ago? Would you have gotten 2 million votes 3 years ago? And I think that kind of, to me, it's kind of like maybe we are little by little getting that message out. But, is it too late, Nick? Do you feel like it's too late now?
It's never too late, man. You look, it's too late when you decide it's too late. And that's just something that I believe in. We've been down and out, man. We've been there. I mean, We talk about it all the time. That one bill that was voted on unanimously in the House, unanimously in the Senate, and our last hope is the governor. And to try to get to him, you're thinking, if you were to let your thoughts take over, you'd be like, there's no way in hell we can even get to talk to this individual. It's just a done deal. We're screwed. But, you know, it got to me, and you know, those in the organization, we were just like, we're not done till we say we're done. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, of course we've seen that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody has. It's here though.
Yeah, it's here. Know? Yeah. Well, to me, I mean, this is not a done deal yet. There's still 40, I think only, it's 42% of the votes are in. I don't know how much closer they're going to get to that number, but I started thinking, he kind of pointed out another thing, and you brought up the governor as well. Now, I'm not sure how our governor feels about this, but I think if that number gets to a point where it's really close, like 51 to 49, I think he's going to have to start thinking whether or not this is something he needs to veto and push aside.
And I think the messaging needs to be, you know, as crazy as it seems, a big message is, you know, number one, your economic impact, but number two, the huge black market that will be created because of that they will lose out on that funding. So, you know, those two big things, the We Vape, We Vote is a great thing if we get out and we vote, right?
Yeah.
And so many times we say we vape, we vote, and then I get pushed back on, how many guys voted and who'd they vote for, you know?
Yeah.
But when we talk about dollars and cents and economic analysis and those reports that we use from Lindsay and what the black market would do to the youth will make that accessible, or it will be more accessible to youth when it becomes a black market item.
Yeah.
And those kind of things hit people differently, right?
Yeah.
So it's bad enough that we have retailers that sell it now to a large amount. Imagine if we had no retailers or just a black market, just selling flavors.
Yeah, we have a product that is uncontrolled, unregulated, and number
no tax.
No tax. And the big one to me is you got a product out there now that kind of screws up their whole idea of harm reduction, number one, and public safety. I mean, those are two of the big things. Is, you know, public safety is number one. I know that it's about the teens, but public safety is always the number one thing when it comes to whether it's teens or adults. Right. So now you're going to have a product that's going to be out there. It's not going to be regulated. It's not going to be controlled. They're going to not know what the fuck's in it.
You remember of Volley?
Yeah. Volley times 1,000 in California. You're talking about a lot of, you know, obviously, you know, with 2 million votes, and who knows by the end of this, when they finally tally all the votes, how close that number is going to be.
The product could have potentially harmful constituents in it, even more so on that level versus people who are trying to run a responsible business.
Yeah.
Then you don't have businesses open, brick and mortars will shut down.
Yep.
So you're not getting that tax plus your sales tax plus the actual rental of the facilities and the manufacturers, and it just has a huge economic impact. And I don't know what it's going to take if it's on to THR 101 or if you can get with Lindsay, but start getting that message going in states that are dealing with this kind of stuff, because those are heard. When you start talking about dollars and cents, it kind of wakes them up a little bit, right? Yeah. And we are then put in a different category. We're not just they're just vapors, you know.
Yeah.
We're now put in a category of, holy shit, they might be right. We might lose money.
Yeah.
And then that changes everything. Losing a seat, we have not proven that we can take a seat away.
Right.
I mean, there's
not
here
yet.
And there, like, you know, little districts here in Florida and throughout the country. But when we take a big seat away, eventually, when we vape and we vote, and it really gets out there and we send that message, I think that'll change things. But for now, it's dollars and cents, and it's real.
Yeah.
And they're numbers, and they're black and white, and that's it.
Hey, Tim, now let's I'm going to ask Tim, well, now, you know, we have the situation where, like Nick is talking about, you have the black market. Now, who do they blame? Who do they go and blame now? When there's another Valley outbreak, when there's someone that gets sick? Who are they going to go blaming now? They can't come after us
Well,
anymore.
well, then they're probably going to go after, officials in terms of, not enforcing the illegality of something, right? They're going to want them to go kick in their doors with the DEA and shit and come in with guns blazing and raid houses. They're going to start going after, they're like, okay, well, we worked to get it gone in terms of it being completely illegal. Now we need you to enforce those laws and take these street dealers down. And it's going to be an ugly show because a lot of, whether or not you go after big guns who are shoveling in, because Mexico will find a way to get it in here, right? I mean, they're going to capitalize on that. They're going to capitalize on that. And who knows? I mean, it could start coming in laced with fentanyl and all kinds of stuff. And once that gets over the border, then you got this whole cyclical conversation that goes on. And now I think what you probably eventually will see will be a lot of them eating their own. And then the other thing that's a problem, and I don't want to go in deep into politics, but I find a lot of irony in politics, and especially these particular states that tend to swing one way that have a particular ideology, and they'll stand on their soapbox and fight against something, and then it's going to turn around and bite them in the ass. Because then there's going to come a time when they're going to want that or need that or feel that should have been utilized, that particular element that they fought so hard not to have as a tool for themselves, that it's going to come back and bite them. And then you're going to have, kids getting busted by cops left and right and tased by cops and all this other crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
Because now they've released this to being uncontrolled and and people are going to want what they want. And if they want what they want, they're going to get what they want to get. And there's not going to be any ifs, ands, or buts. That people will get it however they got to get it. So I don't think I think while at the tippy top of the slope, there are some underlying good intentions. But when these things tend to take off, like all this anti-vaping sort of stuff, they tend to kind of snowball into a point, when you see the snowball go down the hill and then eventually it finds the other hill and it goes up. And then, all of a sudden these people that are cheering because the snowball is no longer on their hill. Now it's rolling back at them. Yeah. And now they're turning around and they're running the other way, because they don't. I don't think they really think things through, and maybe that's just my opinion.
Yeah, we're gonna have the Mexican vape cartel, Nick. I can see it now. Multi-billion-dollar cartel in Mexico. What are they selling? No, not cocaine, not marijuana, vape supplies.
Yeah.
There'll be enough U.S.
Yeah,
people.
We have another. What was the guy?
We're a very resourceful group, right?
Yeah. Well, this law is funny that they are trying to pass because, to me, it's a law that is only hurting the retailers and the distributors in the state of California, because they're going to still allow flavors to come in, just not in California. So I'll still be able to get anything from Florida, from Colorado. So basically we're providing the economy or helping the economy in another state, not ours. That's the silliest part of that law.
I did not read that. It was sent to me and I've been running around. So I have not read the actual bill, but I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't think the last time I read it, unless they changed it again before they came up with this bill, I understand that you'll still be able to get flavored products in. You just won't be able to buy them from retail locations in California. So
they are voting on this Proposition 31 on the ballot.
Yeah.
Or
it was. Okay, so they had submitted the bill or tried to pass the law, and then Big Tobacco came in and did a petition, and they got all these signatures, and there was enough signatures to justify sort of putting it on pause, and then it ended up being pushed back to this election. So they had bought themselves a 2-year time window to have the public come back and then vote on it in the race.
Yeah.
So it's not like a constitution revision or nothing.
No,
it's just a ballot initiative.
A ballot initiative.
I
I know we jumped right into it, but we're going to go ahead and Tim, how's your week going, buddy?
Good. I mean, it's busy as usual, but you know what? I prefer it that way. It makes the clock go faster on the wall, and really, if I can look down and look up and be like, "Holy shit, the day's over,"
Don't
I
you
kind of
love
prefer.
that?
I would much rather be busy at work, but I will share my highlight for the week. So it was my epiphany. I'll own it. But I think I told everybody a couple weeks ago I got invited to that Vine program with Amazon where I get to review shit for free.
Yeah.
And it's a godsend because it's given me a channel to get a bunch of gadgety kind of shit that I'm like, I want it, but I'm like, man, like $20 here, $20 there, $15 here. Now I can get all that shit for free and I can review it. So I'm like, you know what I've been wanting for a while is one of those stupid little milk frothing wands that, everybody's got, So I bought one and it came in and I got it for two primary reasons. One, it was rechargeable, and two, you just click the button and it comes on, and then you don't have to hold down the button the whole time. So those were two selling points for me. Anyway, so I had read up all about frothing milk and everything, and I asked the question to Google, like, can you froth non-dairy creamer? Because I don't use milk. I don't use half and half. I use hazelnut creamer. Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, you can froth that stuff. So I poured some in a cup and I got the little wand thing and I'm trying to froth it. And I'm like, this is bullshit. It's a piece of shit. Nothing's frothing up. So I was a little disappointed. So I went back online and I'm like, what's the best milk to froth? And they were like, whole milk. So I went and bought a little thing of whole milk. And I came home yesterday and I put some in a glass. Son of a bitch, man. That thing like doubled in size. I'm like, so I pour creamer in my coffee now, and then I just put the foam on top to make it all fancy. So that's my highlight for the week. The little things, man. It's the little things.
It's
coffee
beautiful.
Is life. Yeah, coffee is life. When you can make something
the sweet nectar of life.
Yeah, that's it. And Nick, Mr. Orlando.
Oh man, I had a couple of highlights.
Yeah, you did.
First one was Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. John's team got its ass kicked.
Oh God, did we ever?
Thank you for that, John. We needed that victory.
Hey, as an early Christmas gift. It's an early Christmas gift.
And then obviously the election. I mean, we were pushing hard up until Tuesday, all weekend and stuff. And we had a couple of key victories in the state for our industry here, and hopefully send some messages out throughout the country. All good things there. So that's kind of, how my week is so far. It's only Wednesday, and now it's back to work. Session starts, and we're going to start working now that we have a friendly on the other side that we know how to work with them.
And you're preparing for the what's the name of this storm? I know you guys have
Nicole.
Sounds like a scary ass one.
She's right now she's over there in Daytona. I don't even think it's made landfall yet, but Daytona is like washing away. All my buddies over there, the beach is just going, hotels, parking lots. And it's going to come across the state.
I noticed all the female names are always the worst ones.
Maybe well, Ian was pretty bad now. Ian kind of took the cake.
Yeah.
But we should have about 65 mile an hour winds on this side of the state. Daytona's going to get a little more.
Well, hopefully everything goes well and safe. Mr. Tim, say hello to those people on the right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode 101 of the Wednesday Night Live show. We made it through episode 100, so it's great to see everybody back. Michael Redfern, good to see you, sir. How are you? We'll try to get to your question here in a little bit. John maybe can answer that question since he knows.
Yeah, I'm looking into it right now. Yeah.
Okay. What's that? Mallory, good to see you. How are you? I know you were up there at the top of the show, and good to see you. And I'll answer your question here soon too. Who else we got? Tho, good to see you. How are you, sir? Great to see you back. Who else is in here? I know I saw somebody called Purple something, but they kind of left. I think they were here and
Purple Haze.
Redden, good to see you, bro. How you been, man? Good to see you this week. And yeah, it was Purple Levi. Purple Levi was here for a hot second and he was confused and left. So
Damn.
Oh, and Diggity D. I almost missed Diggity D. Diggity D. Good to see you.
Diggity D.
I love the screen names, man. Keep them coming. I tried to be creative, but I'm old, so maybe my brain doesn't work as well. Diggity D.
I
Like that.
figured on public.
Are these the same people with different names, or are they different people?
Nah, Diggity D is a new face
So
to the roster.
So I jump in here, right, and I'll chat back and forth. Well, first of all, I got some breaking news. Those of you that were attending the Alt show starting tomorrow in Tampa, the Vapor and Alternative Product Show is canceled due to the storm. So those people that are flying into Tampa, no show. And you can't go to the beach because it's going to be crap. So fly a kite.
Hey, why not? You get a good You get a good sandburn, not a sunburn, a sandburn.
Yeah. So I did have a question for you two experts.
Hold on, let me put my thinking cap on.
Okay, the people in the chat, there are several different names that I see over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it Toby, Thoby,
and Tho?
Thoby.
Well, I guess it's B, but Tho is the first name. Yes.
Tho.
Yeah, from Germany.
Perfect.
Germany.
I chat with Tho. I just didn't know if it was Thoby, Thobi, Tho. I want to be able to pronounce it correctly.
Oh, he can answer.
And then we have people like Diggity D, who is somewhat new, and Michael Redfern.
Redfern. I'm going to go with Fern.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
You're all getting put on Nick's mailing list.
I'm just, I mean, I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing them correctly, number one.
Yeah.
But number two, every once in a while I see people comment on a post that I make, and I just want to be able to, like when he says it's Tho, Nick, and I go, I don't want to go, hey, Tho, and it's really Jim or something like in the thread. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are their YouTube handle names, or I guess you can call them their handle.
So should we call you Tho, or should we call you Tho? Since it's short for Thomas.
It's short for Thomas, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, just remember those are their YouTube handle names, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what they call them, but yeah, that's not their true names. But yeah, if they want to share their real names, they can. That makes it easier.
I think my real name is on my YouTube thing. That's why it's like
not mine.
Yeah. I used mine, and then I've gotten offered lots of money for mine, and I still won't sell it. And because there's an entertainer named John Truncali that does lounge shows, and he wanted that name for his YouTube channel, and I got it before he did, so I automatically got an email from this guy. It's like, hey, I'm a lounge singer, entertainer. I do Wayne Newton and Frank Sinatra. He does all the old stuff. And, I would really like to have that. And I'm like, dude, that's my name too, man. I'm not going to just give it to you, man. It's my name too. Yeah. So look, it says a yes vote on this measure means in-person stores and vending machines could not sell. So it says nothing about anywhere in this thing. I'm looking all over mail. So from what I understand, when I read the first time, about half a year ago, they were still going to allow stuff to come into the state of California, which I argued, why are we helping other states' economies when we should be supporting our own economy and jobs and all these people that are going to lose these jobs? But yet you're going to allow it to keep coming in. Now, I know there's a trick there when it comes to taxes. So you may be taxed twice, right? Because you're going to pay Nevada taxes, and then California is going to want their cut, because they're not just going to let a tobacco product come into California and not be taxed. Is that possible, Nick? Because I remember other issues with that. Because they do that with cigarettes.
Anything as far as the structure is possible with the proper voting throughout the House and the Senate, right? And the governor approval, especially when it comes to creating a budget for the annuals, right?
Yeah.
But am I reading this correctly? So that you're not allowed to have flavored tobacco products for sale?
Yeah. Yeah, we're done. We're like Michigan. I mean, we're like Massachusetts. We're shut. Okay. We're down.
So you can't get stuff from here and sell it there? Retailers?
No.
Okay. I misunderstood you earlier. I thought you said you could.
No, an individual owner like me, an individual customer can order from Florida and have brought in, but I'm not sure. But a store or shop, no.
Now, where that's going to be the problem is with the new PACT Act. When you order from outside, you got to have a signature and all that shit. So you're going to pay a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I remember Bob talking about this. Bob Sharp, you know Bob, about how they went after all these people that were ordering cigarettes online and bringing them into California. So California decided, hey, this is bullshit, and they passed that law where they went after all those people for every friggin' pack of cigarettes that they bought.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if this is something they are considering doing to it, because they're going to see a flow of flavors. Still, we're going to see a flow of orders coming in from all over the place, and they're going to say, and of course, now that they have to have the verified signature, they're going to know what's in the fucking package. They're going to know what vendor it's coming from, and they're going to know how to tax it. So there's no hiding. There's no, I got no. This is shampoo products from fucking whatever my buddy's sending me. No, it's not going to.
So you're going to have to drive to Vegas.
Not bad. No, yeah. Well, for me, yeah, Nevada would be the closest. I'm 4 hours from Nevada, so I would, 3.5, 4 hours from Nevada. So I don't know if I have to go that far.
Well, okay, but could in theory, I mean, you could have. I'm sure somebody will set it up where they do like a vape bulk buy or something, and just send some mule over the state line to go buy a bunch of shit, come back and redistribute it to their friends. They're not a store anymore. They're not a vendor. They're just gonna be like, hey, I got everybody's shit. Show up at my house at 10 o'clock. I got everything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and that would work. I mean, I'm available if someone wants to pay for gas.
You can still buy hardware.
Yes. It doesn't say anything about hardware in this thing, unless they're going to sneak it in there in the end. But I don't see anything about hardware at all. Again, it says flavored tobacco products, so yeah, it doesn't say anything about hardware or at all. So it does talk about the financial effects.
I gotta look at it.
Yeah, I could send you the link to the actual breakdown of it all. It does talk about the fiscal effects to it, and this is the thing. Okay, I made light of it on Twitter, and I'm using Australia as an example. I mean, those are not fuck around fines. Those are not fines that the average person can go, no big deal. You know what? I'm helping out a friend. He needs some. When you have here, for instance, the first offense is going to be let's see what it is to say here, $250 fine. Is a $250 fine for something Tim was just talking about someone doing, who's going to end up making, probably triple, double, whatever the $250 fine is going to be. That's not going to stop him. That's not going to stop him from driving to Nevada, buying several $1,000s worth of fucking flavored e-liquid, coming back in and making $400, $500, $600, for doing it,
Right. But if it's a bunch of friends, right?
But it's a bunch of friends, yeah, and you're still.
So if you get a bunch of friends, there's no profit. You just kind of each of you take turns doing it, And
well, hey, I'm Italian. I'm always thinking points, Nick. I'm always thinking points. I'm not doing nothing if I'm not getting any points out of it.
You're gonna get e-liquid. You know enough people to get it. So the thing is these people affect the individuals that have not started using this product yet, or those that have newly introduced to it. And that's what hurts so bad. It's not us. We can always get product. No matter what we need, I'm sure we can get. It's a matter of a phone call or a text.
Yeah.
At a very minimal price. If this state went belly up and we couldn't get flavored, I could call some people and just go, hey man, can you send it over? It'd be done. But these people, what they're doing is pausing the introduction of vapor products and vapor delivery nicotine to those that are using combustible tobacco. And that's what sucks.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. No, I was about the fines. That's the thing. I mean, I'm always wondering who comes up with these numbers for these fines, and even if you look at the at T21, that's nothing. Those fines are nothing. It's nothing. I mean, I pay that, no big deal. You know what I mean? Or not even pay it. You know, I mean, why not have a fine that says don't fucking do it? To me, $250 isn't. I'm not going to fucking do it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that are out there like, I know, no big deal if I get caught. I mean, but still, to me, if you have what they have in Australia, where it's thousands and thousands of dollars, you know what? That guy's going to think twice about whether or not he's going to go buy you a vape device.
We've seen the purpose work, right?
Yeah.
When the deeming regs dropped in 2016, it thinned out the market, right? These bills are meant to do things like that. Number one, they're feel good, right? Like, I created this bill. Look at me. I'm doing something about our youth or our health or whatever the topic is. It's about getting up on that box and saying, I did that. You know, John Truncali did this in the name of Californians to be healthy. And that's going to be set up for later or for a current election. The overall impact is very negative when they do these things, and I think we know that. But the deeming regs thinned out the market. This will also thin out the market if it goes through. Each step they take is getting thinner and thinner on the market, and they hope that the introduction of these new policies thin the market out enough to where it becomes more regulated, more easily to regulate. I think that's the purpose of these. So it serves two purposes. Look at me, and it thins the market out. And, you know, it's just kind of the way it is. They don't really look to enforce this, John. They haven't enforced the deeming regs since 2016. I got people mixing around the corner from my shop. I stopped mixing. They're still mixing today.
Yeah. They haven't stopped anything.
And they haven't done shit.
I love this right here. Go ahead and read that one because I can't see it, Tim.
State and local governments pay for health care for their employees and for qualifying low-income people. Proposition 31 likely would reduce tobacco use, leading to better health.
I love how they added that right in there. And we all know the truth. We know exactly what's going to happen. And Nick just talked about it, you know. Number one, black market, you know, that's going to start. How that affects the public health and the fact that we all know, because we have the statistics, San Francisco is a perfect example of it. In my own state, what happened when they banned flavors? Everybody went back to smoking cigarettes. Everybody went back to smoking cigarettes, and they were smart. They did. They said the same thing we talk about. Well, San Francisco is a big county, so I'll just go to Alameda County. I'll just go to Oakland. I'll just go to Redwood City. I would just go to San Mateo. Well, guess what? They shut them down all around there. So now, if you lived in the city of San Francisco, and I can tell you right now, not very many people own a car in San Francisco. Everything is done by transit and walking. Very, very few people actually own a car over there. So they're not able to go to Oakland. They're not able to go to San Mateo. They're not able to go to Redwood City. But that didn't matter because they shut it down all around it. So now you have to go almost 15, 20 miles out of your way to go get a bottle of e-liquid. But I love this statement. It's going to make us healthier, Nick.
Well, anything to sound good, right? I mean, it's just like, we gotta protect the kids. We need to prevent the next generation of tobacco addicted children and stuff like that. I mean, they to the people who don't have a dog in the fight, don't really know much about it, don't have the time to want to really learn about what's going on. We already, are a bit of a hanging shad of society, with regard to that. But then when they say those other things that are so righteous and propagandist, it makes the politician look better in the eyes of the person who doesn't. They're like, well, yeah, I mean, God, if they're fighting against it, it must surely be bad. So I'm going to go ahead and vote for that person because they're fighting to protect my children and just all of the, the miscreants that, could eventually poison my kid. So it's just numb hearing. They're just hearing what they think is the right thing. So yeah, why not say, oh yeah, it's going to cut back on tobacco usage, so it's going to provide a healthier environment for everybody. Well, that's California in a nutshell, right? Let's get rid of straws. Let's basically, get everybody eating friggin'
supermarket plastic bags,
miracle burgers or whatever the fuck they call those things at the
surprise me.
like the veggie shit that looks like
the
hamburger.
impossible stuff,
impossible burgers and stuff. Let's go to electric cars so that we don't have the fossil fuels killing the state. All the while, people are just gonna go do it anyway.
Drinking that Kool-Aid, baby.
Yeah.
The proposal does not ban, I hate that word,
shisha.
There you go.
Hookah, tobacco sold, used at stores, certain
cigars.
Guys,
if they did screw with those guys, you would crush the bill, because those guys in convenience stores have a lot of money and they will dump it into every dime they have to crush that bill. Yeah. However, there's where they screwed you.
Yeah.
We added flavored cigars into ours and they crushed the bill.
Yeah.
One of the ones we had, we were losing. And then all of a sudden, one of our friendlies put across an amendment that said, hey, we're going to exempt cigars and stuff from this bill. American Cancer, American Heart, and American Lung jumped up and automatically jumped behind our bill. We didn't even pay for it. They jumped behind our bill to crush their bill that they were just supporting.
Yeah.
Because of shit like that.
Yeah. Well, but this also crosses sort of the traditional discriminatory lines, right? Because people in the Indian culture, that's a normal thing. Now, yes, you have the hookah bar component of it, which is kind of fancy pinkies up shit that people can do on a Friday or a Saturday night. But from a cultural standpoint, you would effectively be alienating a large portion of your minority community if you banned it. So that
100%,
that really is the crux of that one. Where you're right, Nick, they would fight it tooth and nail, but that's discriminatory right there. You'd be like, oh, you're just gonna discriminate against my culture. Yeah. Oh, they know it.
So their messaging is spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
we
joked about it on the show, but I think we should create our own religion for vaping, and they would just have to fucking leave us alone. We can have pastors all throughout all the country and have little chapters and just
This is what led to that comical conversation we had several shows ago about how we should create like a vape religion, like a vape church, and then we could all basically say, we subscribe to this particular religion, and then if you're going to try to ban it on me, now you're discriminating against me.
I think
all we got to do is sitting around on our bald heads and go,
I think it's possible that we could find the word vapor in the Bible somewhere. It's got to be in there somewhere.
I'm sure there's a V somewhere, and there's an A, and there's a P in another sentence, and then eventually we could put it all together. And
it's right there.
It says vapor right there in the Bible.
There.
Yep.
Right there. You can't take it
away.
The
Pope of vaping.
Yeah. We'll have a pope. Yeah, we'll have a pope. We'll have an official guy, the head guy, fiscal impact, decreased state tobacco tax revenues ranging from tens of millions of dollars annually to around 100 million. That's a bullshit statement, and they know it.
100%.
100%.
There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell that would be reversed.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
But they're selling that. They're selling it good, ain't they?
They're selling it. Well, they knew that was going to be the first thing that comes up because let's be honest, like Tim says, the people that don't have a fight in this, that's what they're thinking about. What is this going to cost me taxes? If they can't find this money, where are they going to go get this money? And that means they're going to come out. Yeah, they're going to, whether it's going to be property taxes, whether it's going to be state and local taxes, they will find a way. And so, you can't. You're talking about a state. What they got? They got $9 billion last year, $9 billion from MSA, and that's not including sales tax money.
There's the button right there. Yeah. MSA. This is exactly what they're trying to push with this message.
Yeah.
Push funds back to the MSA.
Yeah.
Blessing the e-liquid for the winter Lent. Good one, Prof. Milky.
But we won't.
Professor Milky.
Yeah,
Milky.
Yeah, we will not.
Milky.
Is it Milky? Hold on, I'm old.
Milki.
Oh, there's
I
two
think it's
L's in there.
Professor Milky.
It is
that two
Milky.
L's?
There's two L's.
No, it's two L's.
There's the Aya in there.
Yeah, but we will not be doing church on Sunday. That's football. That's football. We'll have to change that. And we can't do Monday. Thursday you can, because Amazon Thursday Night Football really sucks. So we can really do it Thursday.
We got to do it early.
Yeah,
do it early.
We'll get them on board. Somehow, some way we'll get the Pope, the actual real Pope involved. And then game on.
Vape starts with a V, and so does the Vatican. So there's definitely a connection. There's definitely a connection there.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw this statement here, I started laughing. I was like, how are you selling this? But then, like I said, I started thinking about the regular Joe, the regular taxpayer in California that doesn't smoke, doesn't have anybody in their family that smokes, doesn't give a shit about vapor, doesn't give a shit about
tofu burritos.
Yeah. He's the guy that's thinking, well,
the Impossible Burger.
Yeah, he's the guy that's thinking, how are they going to get me? How are they going to get their fingers in my wallet? And that's how I think they're winning this battle, is because of these statements like this, and making sure that the taxpayer understands that, no, we're not going to try to find other ways to come up with this money. It's going to come, but it's going to, of course it's going to be now. Now, what do you do?
It pisses me off that they're still doing this. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
That we are still going through this after all these years.
Yeah. I mean, what are they going to say when they get their next MSA check and it's $12 million? Now, what do they say? What do they say now? Oh, well, we didn't see that income. We didn't see that increase coming. We thought people were just going to quit. Of course, what happens. We all know what's happened. Their statistics are out there for every city that's banned.
We'll never hear about it.
Yeah, because nobody will talk about it.
We'll never hear about the increase to MSA funding.
Yeah. Because we know exactly what's going to happen. Like I said, we've seen it. We've seen the stats. We know that people are going to. It's not all of us. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every single vapor is just going to say, "Fuck it, I'm going back to smoking." No, because like Nick said, there's several of us that know where to go, know how to get what we need. But there are those individuals that may have been, that maybe 2 weeks in, 6 months in, maybe even a year in, sometimes even a year in, you still have a chance that you may go back. So those are the ones they're going to get back. They're not going to get the 6 year, the 7, the 10, the 12-year vapor. Those guys by now, I hope, realize I can still get this. I know where to get it. I know how to make it, or whatever. But those guys that are just getting into it or new to it, or still on edge, they're going to go back. They're just going to go, well, fuck this. This is too hard. It's too much work, and they'll wait until their stash runs out. Right, Nick? You got to wait until your stash is out. And then last minute, you're thinking, I got 10 mils left. Oh, shit. And then what do? You end up at fucking 7-Eleven asking for a pack of fucking Camel filters.
Yeah. They're going to lose all those disposables too.
Yep. I don't know this number. Maybe you do, because you've seen this. You have sales numbers, but do you see what percentage of these flavored vapors that are vaping with flavors? How many do you see saying, "Okay, I can still do this with tobacco"?
What percentage?
Tobacco flavor. So I shouldn't say tobacco flavor.
90% of my clients do flavors. They started with tobacco. They would probably 50% would go back to using tobacco successfully and just kind of make the transition. Because if they've been doing it for a while, and some of my clients have been doing it for a very long time, I don't see them going back to combustible tobacco, because over the course of time, they've seen the benefits of it, right?
Yeah.
It's the new conversions that we would definitely lose, because it would be just as easy for them to go to the store and just pick up another pack of cigarettes.
Right. Well, they just won't have the same resource channels as us either.
Yeah.
Correct. And they would just go back and be done. Now, we would offer tobacco, but John, realistically, how many retail stores do you think could survive selling tobacco?
They'll pull it off their shelves. They'll find the next thing to jump on.
Yeah, even in California, I don't think there's a high rate of tobacco flavored e-liquids being sold. There's
Yeah.
probably pockets, but I mean, one of my 5 stores, I probably could make it work.
Yeah.
But the other 4, there's no way in hell.
Yeah.
It's too flavor driven.
Yeah. That's
well,
why
it's the very thing a lot of people want to get away from, right? You get away from you break the connection with flavors. If you consistently have tobacco, you're going to be thinking about having that cigarette.
Yeah.
Adults use flavors to break that addiction to combustible tobacco. It's a flavor, but they still get the throat hit and the nicotine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we stand as an industry.
Yeah.
Without that, we've got nothing. I mean, we've got the same thing in their mind.
Yeah.
The same thing. And they're going to be thinking about that damn cigarette all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say I would laugh. I think it's the wrong statement, but I would think it would be funny if even with this flavor ban, they still don't see a drop in teen numbers. I would just crack up. And then
they're not going to even bother. I'm sorry, Tim, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and they're going to realize it's not been about the fucking flavors this whole time. It's about that fucking high that they're chasing. So, to them, yeah, it's great that they have fucking, mango and watermelon and cherry, but yet, is that the part of the high that they're looking for? Getting, they want the nicotine. Nick froze.
They're going to be too busy high-fiving.
Yeah.
And they're not going to look at those numbers ever again once they squash the industry.
Yeah.
I interrupted Tim now.
That's okay. No, I was going to say, if the kids are still hell-bent on vaping, the kids are as resourceful as adults. Yeah. They're going to find a way. They're going to get it through the similar channels and the backdoor black market channels, because they'll always have some kid or a handful of kids that know where they can get it and will be able to distribute it. So it doesn't end, and they'll do it all on social media, on Snapchat and other channels, that are less traceable than the obvious scenarios where, it's going to be, right across the counter, or that, the proverbial, they're buying it at the convenience store kind of, because they're not going to, they can't get it at the stores anyway, but I'm just saying, I think if it's banned, I think in a lot of ways it will quell some of this detrimental number they think seems to exist, because kids are also very fickle, and once something becomes discouraging and they can't get their hands on it as easy, they tend to abandon it and go to the next thing that they can get their hands on, which will be some form of synthetic this or illegal that. As a matter of fact, I put a tweet out about a week or so ago, against PAVE, because they opine daily with the same kind of regurgitated shit, and I threw up the numbers for fatalities with the youth surrounding fentanyl, and I just basically called them out and said, you drone on about this epidemic that doesn't really exist, and I'm like, honestly, you guys as parents, your efforts could be better focused elsewhere, because that's what's going to come around. It's already a problem, opioids and fentanyl, but now you're going to take away the vape, which is the lesser of two evils in this particular case by a mile. And now the kids are going to be like, well, I can get fentanyl stupid crazy and faster than I can get vapor stuff, coming in. And again, I am not lobbying for kids to vape. I'm just saying we've all been teenagers. We've all been young. And when you can't get one thing, you go and find the thing you can get. And that's what I'm saying is that you're going to probably see smoking rates rise in kids, because, they're going to want some kind of nicotine rush. And then you're going to see the rise in opioid usage, because that's more readily available on the street and easier to get within their circles. And it's going to be a problem. And so I think they're ultimately fighting the wrong fight.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head in a couple of different areas, Tim. Number one, the bigger fight is the opiate crisis. And everybody's just kind of like, we see it once in a while. But number two, the liquid and flavored e-cigarettes in the hands of youth would not be, I truly believe this, as big of a problem right now if we didn't keep it in their face.
Yep.
And I think PAVE is doing the youth a disservice by keeping it in their face. The Truth Initiative and all that other shit is constantly putting vaping. They're reverse marketing on these kids. And they want to try it because and kids shoving it down their throat, and they're thinking, I got to try this now. So they go out and try it. If we didn't do that and we just kind of let it ride, I think we wouldn't have the problem. And the problem didn't start until they started that shit.
Yep.
And I did see a comment in here from Professor Milky. Hopefully I'm not chopping that up too bad.
I did. Yeah.
But I am seeing an increase in clients coming into my building buying flavor-free vapor liquid. They're asking for it. And we actually order it in now, and it's becoming more popular. No flavors, and they don't mix it. They vape, no flavor, PGVG nicotine.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting.
Well, I had my business plan of just selling the flavor shots. I thought I think we can get away with it, Nick. It's an additive.
Coming soon.
It's an additive.
I will have your supplies ready because in production right now is Craft Flavors, which is a flavor concentrate. Next to that will be Craft Base, which will be a short fill nicotine PGVG.
Yeah, sell that shit. Yeah, no, it's just, to me, the whole thing, and we can't fight it because it's those words. It's always that one word, the kids. It's the kids. It's the kids. Anytime anything needs to get through, no matter what, our governments know they can just use that word, and it opens up eyes. Everyone starts listening, and they wondering what's going on. Let's protect the kids. But it's just sad that they understand. I think even the non-smoker, the guy that doesn't have a fight in this, understands the addiction. They understand how difficult this addiction is to stop. I even if they've never had a cigarette, they have seen somebody, a coworker, a family member, somebody that has been dealing with this problem. And now you have a product that's out there that's less harmful. It's harm reduction. As I look at it, it's a tool. It's a harm reduction tool that is working for millions and millions of people. And I'm not going to, I'm not saying, like Tim said, I'm not saying kids should vape, but I think the overwhelming number of adults that are vaping compared to how many underage are vaping, I think that should also be into consideration. I mean, if there are supposedly, what do they say, 2 million teenage vapors in the United States? Is that what the number is now?
Yeah, it's around that.
But you got 18 to 20 million adult vapors that are vaping. I think that number should mean something, that this is a product that is working. Why are we taking harm reduction away from 18 million vapors? Let's figure out a different way to control these 2 million kids that are vaping. Let's start enforcing the law. Let's start going after these people that are criminals. They're criminals. And I'm going to say it. I say it in my tweets all the time. If your son has a vapor product in his bag, he's a criminal. He's a criminal. In my book, he's breaking the law, which makes him a criminal, period. I have zero respect for your son. Zero. He broke the law. I'm not breaking the law. 18 million other vapors, adult vapors, aren't breaking the law, but your son is breaking the law. So now we have 2 million kids deciding the health and benefits of 18 million vapors in this country.
I have a different twist.
Twist it.
I agree with you to a certain extent. Now, with the age getting bumped up to 21,
yeah, that's the word.
What are we raising when you're saying kids?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right. I know. Once that changed, that increased their numbers like 20 something %, right? When they changed that.
And it achieved their goal, right? Because now it made all those people criminals, including service people, right?
Yeah.
People who are fighting for our country are now criminals.
Yeah.
Now, I will also say that if I caught my minor at the age of 17 smoking cigarettes, would you offer them a vape, or would you just say you're going to stop, knowing that they're not going to stop?
I've been through this because 2 of my 3 smoked and being as naive as I was back then, didn't really, you know how we were back. I didn't pay attention. The pack of cigarettes there, it's on the table.
Yeah.
Did I notice 3 missing? No, I didn't notice 3 missing. But if I would have had vaping back then, yes, I would have told my kids, hey, look, don't get into this addiction. Try to stop. If you cannot stop, this is an alternative, and I will regulate it. Does that make me a bad parent? In my book, no, it doesn't make me a bad parent, because I know
No, you're just a realist. I mean,
realist. Yeah.
Because we've said in the beginning, I think Tim said it. Kids are going to get whatever the hell they want when they want it. Period.
Yeah.
So you can send them to private school, you can send them to wherever the hell you want. They're going to get it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, we found the best dope in jail when I was patrolling over there. You know, I'm running through the cells, and they got the best damn dope in the place. I mean, and that proved to me back then that you can try to tell people no, it's just going to get better, because they're going to make it better.
Yeah.
Because they're using it less or have less access to it, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
So we can sit here and tell kids don't smoke. If they choose to smoke, they're going to smoke. We tell them don't ride a bike down a big friggin' steep hill, they're going to go do it, right?
It's the first thing they do.
Where these legislators forget is that they were all kids at one point, and they all went to college, and they all probably drank before they were legally able to. They all smoked before they were. They probably smoked weed, and all of that at that time was illegal, but they choose to forget those things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see how many paid moms give their kids a sip of that wine that they're drinking all the time.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this. I mean, I was raised a strict Catholic, and as a kid, and I still stole my first cigarette from a priest. That tells you there's no fear. There's no repercussions.
Shit.
There's nothing. I mean, to me and to millions of other kids out there, you know, I'm not a kid, but to a million teenagers out there, underage smokers, there's no fear. There's no I'm just going to get slapped on the wrist. You know, nothing's going to happen to me, you know, and there, with that, you know, screw it.
Well, you can't control certain things.
Right.
You can't control experimentation, which may become a dependency.
Yeah.
I don't use addiction with nicotine because it's not true. It's not an addiction. It's a dependency.
Yeah.
So they become dependent on nicotine based on smoking cigarettes, and their body now has a higher requirement for their nicotine receptors to be able to keep going. So they use vapor products or cigarettes. Yeah. I'd prefer they use vapor products. The reality is they use vapor products. So what?
Yeah.
So what? Now, will I say that in law? I've said it behind closed doors in our capital. Kids vape. So what?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
I mean, how bad is that? They smoke too, but limit their access as best you can as a parent. Let's get back to parenting. Have those conversations. If they do drugs, have those conversations. If they text while driving, have those conversations.
Yeah.
We cannot say lack of enforcement is going to continue because there's no. How do you enforce a law on a child if it's not a major criminal law?
Yep.
You're going to catch a kid with a vape and go, okay, community service? I mean, come on, what's that going to do? Okay, you got to attend this nicotine class or tobacco class. My daughter went through it twice, I think. Big friggin' deal. I still caught her with cigarettes.
Yeah.
And if I'd have done the same thing, I'm not above that.
Yeah.
I was dependent on nicotine at a very early age. I started taking them at 12 years old. And I smoked 30 years, got up to 2 packs.
Yep.
Big friggin' deal. I didn't die from it. I may eventually, but as soon as I could make a decision to come to a less harmful alternative, I did.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like smoking, period.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
I like
vaping.
Yeah, that's the thing.
People ask me, why don't you quit vaping? I love it. I loved smoking.
Go ahead, Tim. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I think the other element that they that they miss and they fail to recognize is it's not even so much about, you know, the kids finding it elsewhere or getting it however they're going to get it, or, you know, whether or not. But I think that they don't even look at the underlying factor that they are then, you know, that when the kids are driven, you know, to this black market or to use black market channels, you're effectively increasing the risk to their health in terms of violence, right? Because we see it now when it's already legal. We know where people are walking into vape shops with guns to steal vape stuff,
Yeah.
or interceding on a vape deal of some kind, which I'm shocked those things even exist at this point. But that's what I'm saying is there's some bad players out there, and once the source is identified wherever it's coming from, and they know that it's making money on the street, they're
Yep.
going to come in and they're going to shake it up, and their kid's going to be there getting a bunch of black market jewel pods, and then he's going to get caught in the crossfire of a drug fight because somebody is trying to take somebody else's shit, and then their kid's going to be dead. And then what are they going to be doing? They're going to be on the mainstream media, hearing all these parents talk about their kids dying from fentanyl and they were the greatest kid ever.
Yeah.
And then they're going to say, well, what happened? Well, he got caught in the crossfire of a vape deal gone bad. He was just out there. He's a great kid. He had a future in front. He was fucking vaping. Okay,
Yeah.
he's still going to get that college degree. He's not selling. He's not selling his last known right to get that fixed because he's jonesing so bad.
Yeah.
Because he's hooked on crack or coke or heroin. He's not living in a back alley. Sleeping under a trash bag because he's on his. He's hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
He went to go get some vape because it was still kind of cool and he liked it or whatever. And now he's gone because this is what you wanted. You wanted it gone to stop the kids from getting it. And now you put kids in danger's path.
Yeah. And then they have no one else to blame but themselves. They can't go after the industry. They can't go after their stores. They can't go after convenience store. They can't go after anybody because it's the black market, which they created. They created that market by doing what they're doing. So they have no one else to blame but themselves when that does come in fruition, whatever that word is.
Comes to fruition.
Fruition. There you go. Tim will always be there for. He's my English teacher. He's my English teacher, my hooked on phonics teacher. He's everything. Tim, you would have made a hell of a teacher. You would have been Tim would have been that cool fucking teacher. Remember that one we all had in high school? Yeah, Tim would have been that
guy. Well, so in my last job, I got brought onto the IT team to be a trainer to deliver ERP training to a global organization. The first trip that I took, sorry for the tangent story, but my first trip was to Singapore to train the Singapore warehouse people. And if you know anything about Singapore and the Asia Pacific region and Asian culture in general, in Singapore, everyone is very humble. When you're teaching them, you command their full respect. So they're very humble. They're very quiet. They don't question anything. So they pretty much keep their mouth shut. So I was able to open them up a little bit in that 2-week period where we did our training. And by the end, I took a picture with the whole class. I had the whole class. They all took a picture with the metal horns up. Yeah. So really? Had a bunch of Singaporeans like.
Yeah, our
nice.
I think it was our science. I don't want to say his name, but yeah, he was that teacher for me in high school. I remember just at the end of summer, he would always have a party. He would have a party at his house, and he would hand out flyers in school. Kegger, last day of school, Saturday night. It took his senior year. My senior year, he finally got arrested for doing that shit.
But back on the other subject too, I think the other thing that kind of snuck into my brain about all of this is that it's just mind-boggling to me that they go after the whole argument, in terms of the kids and stuff and how they're trying to save the kids, when in fact, it's really sort of the opposite. It's just that rather than saving them, they're just, they're only really kind of hurting them, even more.
Yeah.
Yep. How long has it been since we started the war on drugs, guys, and how'd that work out?
Oh, that's still gone. I think Nancy Reagan's running that from her grave Yeah, I think that. Yeah, she's still the head, whatever you want to call it. That that worked really well. It made me stop as soon as I saw that sign and got that little sticker at school. I didn't touch marijuana ever again.
Was it the Dare sticker?
Yeah, I don't remember, man. You're 86. What more than that? 80, 84, 85? Somewhere right around there. No,
That's
it's
when I
not going.
stopped.
Yeah, it's not going. It's not going to do any good. I mean, and you're right. I mean, enforcement isn't there. ATF's not going to do anything about it. Nobody
It's
else.
messaging. It's public
Yeah.
optics. And as long as the pave moms and those shitbags keep it out there, we're going to have to deal with it. When
Would it
that
be
stops, there's no more epidemic.
how funny would it be the first week or the first month that this ban goes through? Like they have this big black market bust just to see, show that they're out there. They pull shit. We know they pull that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first month they just have this, and this will be some just crazy number. Like we've got $10 million worth of vape gear. We caught it at the border of Mexico, and they'll have it all laid out on this table. Yeah. It'll be all these vape
with a bunch of poor immigrants that were coming across the border just to be free.
Yeah,
they're like, "What the hell is this? All this stuff you got me taking pictures with?"
And then the one guy goes, "Man, I thought this was pot. You mean I've been hauling vape shit across the country this whole time? Fuck this! I ain't going to jail for vape.
From here.
Yeah, I ain't going to fucking jail for vape, man. I thought this was pot or coke, man."
But it'll all settle eventually.
Yeah.
So I just happened to be bouncing around, and I was looking at Twitter, and I noticed that Amanda Wheeler just put up a post. So they've filed California flavor ban litigation has been filed.
Yeah.
United States District Court, Southern District of California, complaint for declaration of injunctive relief.
Put it up, Tim. Put it up. Can you put it up on the screen?
Yeah, that's the one I couldn't open earlier that she sent out.
Yeah.
Well, this is basically just the lead page, so it's not going to reveal too much information. It's just more formality. So hold on.
Yeah. I knew that was coming. I knew that they weren't just going to let that. California is such a I mean, think of it's the starting ground. It's the starting ground.
Who is it, Tim?
It was Amanda's post.
Amanda's.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who's filing.
Well, RJ Reynolds is involved.
Okay.
RJ, hey, what happened? Why did I'm at 250% and it went ahead and got small on me. Hold on give me 1 minute. Can anybody read that?
Yeah, I got it.
It's Amanda's.
It was from Amanda's post. So Stephen N. Geis, Jones Day, additional counsel identified RJ Reynolds Tobacco, RJ Reynolds Vapor, American Snuff Company, LLC, Santa Fe Natural Tobacco Company, Madoral Brands, Neighborhood Market Association, and Morija, LLC, DBA Vapin the 619.
I wonder what they have to do with the flavored vapor products. Or is it flavored tobacco?
Well, it doesn't really state what it is. It just
says
they're
looking for injunctive relief based on those plaintiffs. Now, if they get it, maybe that's a good thing. If everybody else can jump on as a substantial equivalent to all that, I don't know. But if those guys get it, maybe there's something there. But if they only get it and nobody else does anything, it's just going to be them.
Could be.
As plaintiffs. That's what happened in Florida. We only got a few companies through on that.
I wonder if you can type in that case number and have the full report. Is that can you see the case?
The SBN number, you mean? Oh no, down here, this case number.
At the very top. Yeah, that case number.
Which
and
one?
At the very top in blue.
All right.
It says case number 322.
Wait, you're asking me to do two screen work here, buddy, and I
was going to do it. If you leave it up, I can find it.
SBN 249969. RJR versus County of San Diego. What? This can't be only against a county.
No, it's filed in the county.
It's filed in that county.
It's because San Diego is the district court. I don't know what district it is, but that's the district court. So that'll be a court of appeals.
Hey, look at those good-looking guys right there.
Hold on, wrong screen, wrong screen.
Well, that's a good-looking bunch of guys, though, Tim.
We can get an attorney on here if you want.
Navarro, we need Navarro back.
No, we can get Troutman on or something. He can explain this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, this isn't the same thing. This is not the same thing.
No, that's not the same thing.
No, this is not the same thing because the verbiage. This was filed back in 2020, I think, when the ban first got dropped.
Maybe it's not in public records yet.
Maybe it's a reference. Go back to that document, Tim. Let me take a look at that number. We typed in what the SBN number. Can you type in the?
I think it's the number at the way top. At the top.
The case number?
No, it's blue. There. It's there. SBN 2499969. That's the number I typed. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about that case number right there. Slow down. Go back up. That one.
Oh, well, no, the case number is different. The case number is definitely different on both.
Yeah, it looks like that one's referenced throughout all the other pages.
Well, this one's from 2020 anyway.
Oh, shit.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is when they first tried to do the ban, and then it ended up going to the referendum.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the other one? Well, the one that she posted?
Amanda, you out there, Amanda?
Here, right there. Write this down. Somebody write it down.
Hold on. Let me type it out.
Apostrophe. I don't know if that matters.
That's 2022. So, yeah, you could use that.
Yeah. So you ready?
CB. I actually can see it.
1755.
Ben.
Huh?
BEN.
Ben Carson.
Yeah, BEN and MSB on the end.
MSB.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up.
Southern District Court of California, John.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't have it coming up. 22 CV 1755 BEN.
Did you type in Southern District Court in California?
I have to type that in there?
Yeah, before the 22.
Southern
District of California. Space hyphen 22.
Damn.
CV 1755.
I
got nothing. It comes up nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Mustn't be filed yet.
As they've public. Amanda got a copy of it, so I mean, she was able to at least get her hands on it. Now, maybe it's somewhere else, and she's just sharing.
Just call the guy. There's his phone number. Call him.
There's a number. Call him. Hey, this is the Wednesday Night Live show. We're looking at a paper that you have just filed.
Yeah, you want to explain that to us, there, Steve?
Elaborate on that. Yeah, it doesn't say.
That's some bullshit. I don't have my laptop. I'm on the iPad, so I can't.
Yeah, I don't see it anywhere.
Well, it'll come to light here in the coming days.
Yeah, Amanda will probably get some more about that out there on her Twitter page. I don't think I could. I was going to DM her right now and say, "Hey, would you like to come on and tell us a little bit more about that?" But I forget.
I'll get Greg Troutman. Let me see.
But it's late.
You want to hear the real?
Yeah, get him on board. Get him on board.
Let's get Troutman. Let's get him busy.
Wow. Keep him busy. Let's keep him busy. Other than that, Tim, how was your voting experience this year?
Well, I went at around 3:45 in the afternoon to the middle school where I was supposed to go, and when I got there was freaking nobody in there.
Yeah.
I walked around the corner to have my ID checked, and there was 3 people who check in your ID and give you your little electronic voter card for the screens. And I was like, you guys look like you need something to do. And they all started laughing. And I said, if you want, I'll leave and come back 2 more times if you guys need something.
Isn't this New Orleans? This New Orleans?
And they laughed. And then, I was in and out in about 10 minutes. So, and they said, just wait until about the 5 o'clock rush when everybody's getting off of work and trying to get their vote in before they get home.
Mine did not even make eye contact. She just grabbed my papers, looked at me, handed me the thing, and pointed. That was it. Not a word. How your day's going? What's going on? How you feeling? And you get that sense where you don't want to ask that person how their day is going. That's what I got. So I didn't even come back with like, "Hey, how's your day going? Are you having a good?" No, it was just like she's looking down at her iPad. I hand her the paper. She looks at it. She hands me the thing and goes, I'm like, "Okay, thank you. Hey, you got a job. Okay,
Y'all
that's your
got me
job."
vaping sub-ohm shit right here.
Yeah,
Y'all
it's
got me back in the sub-ohm game.
yeah, it has changed throughout. I don't go always to the polls. I tend to go like a couple years doing the absentee ballots, and then sometimes I get that urge where I want to go and feel like I'm doing something and be there.
You
But I
guys watch
noticed,
for Greg. He's coming in.
yeah, I noticed in the '80s, late '80s, and mid '90s, people were a little bit more open about talking about what they were going to do, in line to vote. And there was none of that. Nobody was sharing thoughts or ideas with each other. It was just like, let me get this
People are
done, get it
afraid,
over.
man.
Yeah,
They're
I think you're
scared.
right. They are afraid. It wasn't like where you could actually have that discussion with someone in line. Hey, how do you feel about 31? And actually get a conversation back and forth. Nowadays, yeah, I mean, you may get slapped in the face or told to go fuck off. Hey, it's ridiculous. That's the one thing I noticed since the,
Let me ask you a question. Was there any open advertising saying vote no on Prop 31?
no, there
Was it?
was none of that there. There was none of
Not
that there,
allowed.
No,
it's
no.
not allowed.
I
Yeah,
don't mean
yeah.
on site at the polling location. I'm talking about leading up to to election day.
Yeah, kind of scattered around here and there.
Yeah, I'm just we
Yeah.
you broke into a man's workout, Nick. Nice job.
Uh,
Nah,
Hey,
it's okay. It's okay.
who else is going to get an attorney on the line while he's at the
yeah,
gym?
he's inspiring us to get to the gym. That's what he's doing, and he's going to help us understand what the hell this is all about.
I'm good at multitasking.
There you go.
He loves this shit.
We will not say anything about your Kentucky shirt there.
You can say whatever you like about it as long as it's good.
Yeah.
So, Greg, we need help. We
Okay.
need something sent down to layman terms. I
Well,
don't know if you've seen it yet.
what I can give you my best guess. What this Proposition 31 did was, as you remember, a couple year or so ago, the legislature in California passed a full flavor ban for all tobacco products, not just vape, all tobacco products.
Yeah.
This will be menthol cigarettes. This will be the cigars, whatever. And California's got a way in their law where if the legislature passes something, if enough people sign a petition, they can get it put on the ballot, and it goes literally democracy. The majority vote for it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And Reynolds and Altria and the big tobacco companies put a bunch of money invested to get this on the ballot, and then it went just down in flames.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the issue. There is a appeal, I guess, going to the Southern District in California as of right now.
Right. The RJ Reynolds and some of their affiliates have filed a suit to challenge this in federal district court in San Diego. I know it's been assigned to a judge. I looked on Pacer earlier trying to pull a copy of it to read it, and the link to it's not up yet. So it literally was just filed this afternoon at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. See, that's why we can't find it. Yeah. It's just too new.
Well, once I can get it, I will send it around to Nick, and Nick can circulate it to whoever. I'm not sure what the basis of their challenge is.
Okay. That's what the question was. It's like we're looking at it and it's like, what? There's not enough meat in what we saw posted. So,
well, what I would, if I were the plaintiff's lawyer, and by the way, Jones Day is their lawyer. Jones Day is one of the biggest law firms in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is no slouch organization. I would make a claim for regulatory taking. I would sue the state to recover. If any vape shop should do this, it has to shut down, or manufacturer has to shut down. Sue the state of California for the fair market value of your business.
Try to recoup something.
Yeah.
Make them pay you the value of your business that they're taking away from you through regulation.
So is your understanding right now, Greg, is that this is in fact law, or it's still got to go?
No, I mean, once the vote is certified, and I assume that it has been, and I'm not sure the effective date of this, whether it's the 1st of January or whether it's immediate. I'm not certain, but whatever day it is, it's going to be either now or coming up soon. My biggest question is, how strong is the state going to enforce this?
Right.
I mean, you've seen I'll give you an example, with their marijuana law in California. You know, they have all the regulations. You have to be a licensed dispensary and all this and all that. How many illegal dispensaries are operating within walking distance of a legal one?
Yep.
And are they really enforcing it?
Yeah. Right now, 45% of the votes are on that proposition. And it's 3,000,003 to 2,044,000 with 5,400,000 reported. So it's
a feel-good bill, right, Greg?
It is in a way. First off, that difference over the remaining vote out is not going to be made up.
No.
You may pare that down some, but it's still going to be double digits.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say.
And
I mean, if it gets close enough, now I'm not saying it's going to win, but it's not a number that is high enough to. Does this help this other bill
this lawsuit?
This lawsuit as some grounds for fighting. Say it's
no, not at all.
Oh,
I don't know what the basis of the lawsuit is. I don't know if they're trying to claim preemption. Yeah. I don't know if they're trying to claim it violates interstate commerce. I don't know what their basis is. It's got to be. I can tell you this much: it has to be federal grounds for them to be in federal court, which means it's a constitutional claim.
Mm-hmm.
It's either federal preemption, which they're going to lose. There's been too many cases, including ones out of the Ninth Circuit, which is where they are.
Yeah.
That have interpreted the preempted language of the Tobacco Control Act. And it's virtually impossible to win a preemption case the way the language is presently written has been interpreted by the courts.
Well, I guess that's what we kind of have to wait for. We have to kind of see what the basis for the lawsuit is. Are they trying to buy time to allow these businesses give them a parachute to kind of find an exit, or are they, maybe just effectively just giving themselves another handful of months before the law is enacted or whatever?
Well, you consider RJ Reynolds is the one behind this suit. Yeah. How much do they sell a year in flavored tobacco products, i.e. menthol cigarettes, in the state of California?
Ooh.
Okay, they're not playing along just to bide time.
Yeah.
They're playing for keeps.
Right. So what happens in the interim, right? So as long as they're filing for an injunction, does that mean until this case is done, then the law doesn't go into effect? Is that how that works?
If they file it for an injunction and they get an injunction, the law would be suspended. Its operation would be suspended while that injunction is in force.
Okay.
And it's important, I think, that they do this and try to do this because I know that there's going to be an effort now, especially with the Republicans taking the House and possibly the Senate, if they can pull off these additional races.
Mm-hmm.
That there's going to be an attempt to try to get some legislation floated come January, February, that would clean up some of the issues we've got under the Tobacco Control Act. Right. Either regulate us as a standalone product or reform the PMTA process. And ideally, I'd like to see the federal preemption language rewritten so that it would stop stuff like California.
Yeah.
And actually, California doing this might be something that we can sell to the Republican House members as to why you need to change this language.
Right. Yeah.
When a state can take out an entire market that's beyond what they should be allowed to do.
Yeah.
I like Craig's thinking. I like his thinking.
So I mean, all right. So in being a devil's advocate here, I mean, with your experience with lawsuits and things like that. So let's say that they get the injunction. Like how long do you? I mean, especially with big players like this and a big law firm, and they're going to want to fight tooth and nail. What do you project as being sort of a reasonable time frame for the courts to make a ruling on this particular case? Would it be months? Would it be weeks? Would it be?
It'll be months. It'll be months.
Yeah.
I mean, the state will initially file a motion to dismiss the suit. That'll get argued. Probably we'll get past that. I don't know which judge they drew. It's all going to depend on whether it's a Democrat, liberal, progressive judge or a conservative judge.
Right.
Yeah. How's that process go? Now I know we're going off vaping, but who decides that?
The cases are randomly distributed when they're filed.
Yeah, I don't like that. I see his sticky fingers.
Well, actually, no. What they do is when you file the case, there's a random number generator, and each judge is assigned a number, and they try to balance out their docket so that no one judge has too much work.
Okay.
So it's randomly selected. So whichever number comes up is the judge gets it.
Right. It's kind of a crapshoot. Well, I mean, I think. Well, remember when we were talking to the other lawyer, the lawyer with
Navarro.
Navarro, Jared. I think
Navarre.
Navarre. Yes, Navarre. They elected to file in a particular district because they knew that they had a better chance at getting a more a judge that would kind of look at it a little bit more fairly than going to a particular area where the cards were stacked.
Well, they did that for two reasons. One is the district court, but more importantly, the appeals court, the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, which covers Texas and Mississippi and Louisiana, is uber conservative.
Right.
Uber. That's why everybody, all the lawyers that are filing cases against the Biden administration for whatever reason are going to Texas.
Right.
California, this case, you're sort of hamstrung because you're suing the state of California. Yeah. Well, the federal court in Texas has no jurisdiction over California.
Right.
So you're going to sue them. You're suing the United States in the other case. You can sue them anywhere.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that's what he was talking about. He had the ability to pick where he was going because he had representatives in each one of those states that he could use. Right. Yeah, that's right. I remember him talking about that part of it. Where we're kind of,
you're stuck. You're stuck. Yeah, you're stuck in California because you're suing California.
Right.
It's got to be in a place. It's got to be in a place, a court that has jurisdiction over California.
Yeah, and when you look at San Diego's numbers on this. They overwhelmingly, actually, it actually kind of almost evened out. Well, somewhat. 59% said yes and 41% no in San Diego.
Well, part of what I think they chose San Diego is it's the lineup of the judges in San Diego is more favorable than it is, say, in San Francisco.
Yeah, for sure.
But, the thing is, you're still in the Ninth Circuit.
Yeah.
And although Trump did a lot to add new judges to the Ninth Circuit, it still is a fairly liberal circuit. Not as liberal as it was 5-6 years ago, but still the most liberal in the country.
Well, I'm glad you were able to jump in and just let you know that gym has some excellent Wi-Fi. That's all I'm saying. You haven't chopped out or nothing. It was great.
Planet Fitness is the judgment-free zone.
Hey, are you, Greg?
So you can't make any judgments about my shirt.
Is that LSU on the wall? Is that LSU behind you on the wall?
I don't think so.
No,
it's purple and yellow. I don't know, buddy. It looks like LSU.
Purple and yellow.
I think you've been taking LSD.
Yeah. Well, I'll
send LSU behind you.
Yeah, great. I'll send you a Penn State shirt.
No. Just don't send me a state pen shirt.
No, state pen, yeah, with numbers on this.
Yeah.
Anything but an Ohio State shirt.
Yes. That's true. That's true.
I've got a friend of mine who's a Michigan fan, and she's got a T-shirt. She wore it in New Orleans in the Final Four in 2012 when Ohio State was playing. It says you can't spell cocksucker without OSU.
Well, hey, Greg, we want to thank you for jumping in.
Hey,
I appreciate
no problem.
it. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Nick, for doing that for us. And hey, you're welcome on the show anytime. We'll hit you up.
Hit me up. I'll come on anytime. We'll talk, and I won't be in the gym, and I won't be getting a little bit winded.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Thanks again, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate you, man.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
We'll chat. Be good.
We'll do. Bye.
Timmy, are you ready for some news?
Yeah.
You got any news?
I mean, I did pull together one that I think we should have talked about a while ago.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let me give you your little bumper there.
All right, so Nick is now a icon. That's okay. He had to run to the little boys' room, I guess. So we'll tap the papers. Yeah. And I thought we would visit this one because this is something that this happened a while ago, and it sat in my back pocket for a while. And it really and we never did talk about it. But this was back in September where Altria ended their non-competition agreement with Juul. So basically, it was with regard to Altria basically sort of stepping out from being an owner of Juul. And I think just because the heat got too hot, the smoke was too thick. They just didn't want the smoke anymore.
The vapor was too thick.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that they just wanted to kind of ball out because they're like, look, this is too taxing. It's too exhausting. Fighting for what could arguably be at one point sort of the redheaded stepchild of the vaping industry in the eyes of the parents and the legislators, and kind of how they viewed the entire landscape of vaping in general, because everyone knows that Altria had a rather large stake in Juul, and I think ultimately was a catalyst to them being able to vault their product so quickly and kind of single-handedly take over such a large market share of the industry at one point. Because that's, in the general circles, not our own, the conversation was always, oh, where's your Juul? What'd you do with your Juul? Where's your Juul? You got your Juul? Hey, oh my God, I lost my Juul. It was like the only word that anyone could speak because they didn't know any better. They didn't really realize that there was potentially other products out there. So at any rate, but slowly giants fall, and Juul, as we know, they became the ire, and then they pulled their flavors, and then they were actually spending money against us at one point, to try to kind of knock us down a little bit, to try to make it look like they were the good guy in this fight, and all this other stuff. So Altria finally pulled themselves out. So in a move likely to shake up the convenience store segment of the vaping products market, Altria Group has abandoned its non-competition agreement with Juul Labs. Altria's option to end the agreement was triggered when Juul's value dropped below 10% of Altria's original investment, according to a Thursday Securities and Exchange Commission filing. Well, like any good investor, these are typical things that happen when somebody puts money behind you and the return, the ROI is no longer there. They're inclined to get out of the fight, right? So that's what's going on. So there's some interesting parts of this article. I'm not going to go into every little component of it, but there was some interesting stuff that I thought we should have talked about. Like, well, what happens to Juul next? I mean, because when you look at this particular article and you look at all the points being made here, obviously Juul loses a large financial backing to be able to continue to promote their products. Now they've lost a lot of ground too, not just because of the litigation and the legal ramifications and the vape war that's going on at the legislative level, but other vape manufacturers have kind of come in and sort of captured everyone's excitement. So Puff Bar and all these other names that I see thrown out. I'm not a disposable user, so I may seem like a noob in that. Elf Bar or whatever. So there's a lot of them that have come in. So while it may seem like it's in effect a detrimental coup de grace for Juul to lose their financial backing, it does free Juul up to do some things for themselves, to become innovators in the market or take another direction or angle with their what is seemingly a myopic product. I mean, the Juul 2 never appeared. I don't think we've ever seen that. For obvious reasons, probably because it got caught up in the whirlwind of the PMTAs. But they really have been sort of a one device, one trick pony kind of company. And I think we've just discussed this before on the show, where we've said, part of the vapor industry, which sort of keeps it cyclical and moving forward, is innovation. And while there may be lots of products that are out there that, there might be the guy that vapes the same e-liquid that he has for the last 5 years and he doesn't ever change it, or there's the person that, relies on nothing but that trusty old Nautilus tank, and he just refuses to change it. Look, no knock on that. I mean, if you find something that works for you, then stick with it, right? I mean, that's the mantra. That's the mantra that we use. So it's not about putting people down for doing this or doing that. But Juul's basically been a one-trick pony. But that doesn't mean that they're SOL. There's a lot of people that still go back to that one-trick pony over and over and over again, because it gives them the satisfaction that they're looking for. So moving on, I think we kind of addressed this. A lot of it had to do with the political baggage, and we can make some assumptions along the way. So Altria bought 35% of Juul Labs in December 2018 for the astonishing price of $12.8 billion, which made Juul's $38 billion value on paper anyway greater than the Ford Motor Company, if you'll believe that.
Yep.
Since then, the tobacco giant has steadily written down the value of its purchase until it reached a low $450 million in June, less than 3.6% of what Altria originally paid.
Right.
So just 2 weeks before announcing its investment in Juul Labs, Altria had abandoned its own unpopular Mark 10 and Green Smoke vaping brands. The timing of the two events triggered accusations of anti-competitive collusion between the two companies, which eventually led to a lawsuit by the Federal Trade Commission, which sought to nix the purchase agreement. So, I mean, they've been kind of fraught with all kinds of resistance and issues along the way. Now, what does Altria do? They may go try to find somebody else to put their money behind.
Yep.
So they they're like a
cancer.
They're Jeff Bezos of the tobacco industry. They got a lot of money. They want to make more money. So they're always going to look for companies that they can put their money behind to get a percentage share out of that, and boost their own revenues. So,
they should just switch to coffee and leave us the fuck alone. Just go invest in some coffee company.
Well, with that said, though, I don't think it's unusual that they would target, a market share company like Enjoy or any of those particular companies, because they're not going to get a warm welcome, in the standard vapor space. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Monster Labs is going to be like, Altria, let's do a deal. Yeah, I mean, that shit ain't going to happen. I mean, I would hope and believe that the standard vapor industry has a lot more couth than to get in bed with big tobacco along the way, because now the trail has been left. The crumbs have been left. There's a trail back to Juul, and everybody can kind of see where that whole thing went.
But let's be honest, everybody's got a number.
Well, I won't disagree with you there. I think they have to look at their own product line and decide whether or not if they want to have some sustainability, they have to look at what the possible ramifications are of a buyout of some, or a buy-in to something like that, where, they're like, great, we can get all kinds of money behind us and we can do 150 more lines of e-liquid and we can put out all kinds of cool shit. Maybe
fight bad legislation with all those deep pockets.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, yeah, and that's one thing that I think we can all collectively agree is that which makes our fight harder is the money's just not there to fight like the big tobacco companies, right? They don't have the endless millions of dollars to keep throwing at the lobbyists and the lawyers to fight these fights, right? So it's a whole other ball of wax. So it's not surprising that they might look at becoming the investor for another company who may still have a chance, right? Enjoy got some stuff approved, shit that we'll never use. But you know, their market is not us. Their market is the incidental quitter.
Yeah, let me try this.
Yeah, the person that walks into the C-store or the or the gas station is like, man, I need to get off these cigarettes. Give me one of those Enjoys or something like that. And that's where they're going to be.
Then we get them.
Yeah.
And then we get them.
Right, because it's transgression. I mean, it's a progressive journey. So eventually that stuff doesn't satisfy you anymore. You try to find the thing that would work better for you, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So Juul Labs' market share has fallen more than half from its 2018-2019 high when its flagship device called the Juul held as much as a 70% share of the C-store vape market. Juul has recently dropped to number 2 spot among C-store products behind Vuse Alto, Pod Vape, sold by R.J. Reynolds, which has still received no FDA marketing authorization decision. Juul's C-store market share has declined to 28.1%. The most popular C-store vape products currently are various brands of flavored disposable vapes. But
what? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Made in China.
Right. But what this effectively does is opens up a question, right? So what's Juul's next move? I think a lot of people in the back of their mind effectively believe that potentially Juul could just be lining itself up to eventually just file bankruptcy and try to restructure the organization, because they'll file Chapter 11, which is not, they're not just going to sell off the farm. They're going to go ahead and clear the books, pay off the lawyers.
I see a rebranding. A rebranding is what I see.
Come back as something new and something different. And that's the other piece to this puzzle, is that, it also opens the door to allow them to be innovative without the contractual obligations, knowing that money that, that all of their well-laid plans need to be approved by the investor board. The guys that sit at the Star Chamber roundtable and decide whether or not they feel as though their money is well spent with this company who wants to come out with the Juul 2 or whatever they decide to call it moving forward. So I'm
sure Juul won't be in that name whatsoever.
No, well, I mean, they have to shake that legacy, right? I mean, it's not hard for people to follow the paperwork, and they could see that they came back as something else. But I think what it does is it loosens the handcuffs on their ability to stay relevant in some way, shape, or form. But the problem that I think that they'll ultimately have, though, is that at this point in the game, it would be very difficult for them to jump back into the game by rebranding and introducing products by another name, even though it may very well just still be a Juul in sheep's clothing.
And you can use that term homage. It's a homage to the Juul.
Well, right, yeah. So yeah, it's a tribute to Juul. So, but with that said, is they're beyond filing new PMTA point. Right. So they can't get those products back out on the market because they just don't have an open door to get anything new into the pipeline. So, they're still around. It's still available. You can still get it. They'll still be able to pay their CEOs and executives, and they're probably their lab core that, does whatever in their manufacturing plants. But, we already know that they've lost some ground to other product lines that are out there. So I think you'll still see them in the same place that they've always been. And there will be people who traditionally will go back and just get another Juul. Until, other.
Yeah, they're diehards out there. I'll admit it. Honest to God, we've all used disposables, but I'm gonna say it. It's still the nicest device to hold in my hand. for some reason. I don't know if it's just the sense of quality that you get from that product,
right?
Or they put that into our minds. That is, But honest to God, never leaked, never not worked. I fucking ran it in the washing machine and took it out and waited about a couple hours and put it in a new pot, and it still worked. So,
and if it didn't work, you could always go get a new one.
You can
just order it. Yeah, send you a brand. No, they'll send you a brand new one.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with that. You still have, like, even Tim's saying, you have the diehards. They're just going to stick to that. They want that. It's worked for them.
Yeah. I forgot to share on the previous article, but that's okay. I read good.
You read good?
I read good.
You read good.
So I thought we'd move on from that. I mean, talk amongst yourselves with regard to Jewel, which we like to hate anyway. But this was an interesting one this is Allison. Allison wrote this one.
Allison. Allison?
Yeah, Allison Boughner.
That's right. We need to start promoting her blog more on the show. I keep forgetting to do that, but we will, Allison.
Yeah, so I pulled this one just because it's it's an encapsulation of the USVA, United States Vaping Association trade association that represents a small vapor industry suing the FDA. So this is kind of, again, sort of what we were already talking about with Greg. But I thought maybe it'd be better to kind of maybe revisit it and kind of maybe put it into a nutshell, as Allison's kind of tied it all kind of nicely together here in her blog. So the lawsuit is challenging the PMTA final rule because the FDA failed to properly consider the impact the seemingly impossible and expensive process would have on small businesses. In the deeming rule, the FDA spoke as if vapor applicants would be able to substantially rely on public data or on 70 studies the FDA itself was conducting at the time. In the end, the FDA wrote an impossibly burdensome PMTA rule that is putting a lot of people in this industry out of business. Yet, in fact, the FDA claimed that there would be no significant impact on small businesses. So this is what the lawsuit is basically asking for. So the lawsuit asks for relief for these businesses that are members of the USVA. The relief lawsuit is seeking as follows. So here are the main points. Declare the PMTA final rule in violation of the RFA, or the Regulatory Flexibility Act. Remand the PMTA final rule to the FDA, and enjoin the FDA from enforcing the PMTA final rule against any members of the USVA, and to take such actions as are necessary and proper to remedy their violations deriving any such actual or attempted enforcement. And then we keep going. Not only did the FDA not create a small business pathway through FOIA requests, we learned that they prioritize manufacturers with the greatest market share. So Juul, Enjoy, Blue, who else? Views, that sort of thing. So just going on into this, the FDA anticipates that a substantial portion of PMTA submissions during the compliance period will consist of open e-liquids that contain hundreds to thousands of products with variations in characterizing flavor, nicotine concentration, and PGVG ratio based on the tobacco ingredient listings submitted by tobacco product manufacturers and importers. The memo reads, this is a memo, to increase the likelihood that more tobacco products will be reviewed and receive marketing orders before the end of the compliance period, the Office of Science is implementing and bundling bracketing review approach for ENDS, open e-liquids PMTAs. So again, by 2021, that was thrown out with replaced with the fatal flaw standard. So I mean, this is all we intend on following this litigation.
Did you guys cover that with Navarre?
Yeah, he came on specifically to address it right after.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I'm fortunate enough to be involved in that suit, so
yes,
it's good stuff.
And we certainly will have him back to provide updates and progress reports and anything that's relevant to the litigation that's going on. So I
am thankfully a client.
Yeah. So you'll be in on. You're
I'm not just a member.
You're in the inner circle, Nick. So effectively, you'll be getting the drop just as much as So Jared's busy. We can get it straight from you, the horse's mouth.
Or Allison.
Yeah, she is part of the show.
Yeah, either one.
So with that, anyway, we'll get the information one way or another. But
I love the way this was broken down, though. She did a good job.
Yep, she did a wonderful job, just kind of putting it in plain layman's terms and explaining it so everyone can understand it and read what's going on.
Tim, why don't you put that link in the chat there for future viewers to go check it out? We will plug her next week. Next week we'll plug it.
Yeah, put her on the spot too.
Yeah, no, I keep forgetting that she's doing that, and I end up reading them, but I forget to bring it up in the show. So
the link is in the chat.
Thank you, Timothy.
All right.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome
for mentioning that. That was good stuff.
Yeah. So
that was good.
Yeah. So at any rate, we just have to remember that people are still fighting. We're not done yet. So I know it seems daunting at times. California is a prime example, but there's already a lawsuit out there now for that too. So people will fight as much as they possibly can. So.
Yeah, I mean that's the positive thing I got today. This, I was down last night. That the opening numbers just kind of blew me away when I saw. I typed in results for Proposition 31, and those first results, I was just like, I was done. I was pissed. I was ready to go grab that bottle of Crown out of the freezer and go get me some apple juice and start making me some drinks. But I held back, and this morning, just running into my friend at the supermarket, and he kind of just talking, and he knew right away. He goes, "Man, you look pissed off, upset." And he knew what it was about, but him pointing out the fact that 2 million people in the state of California actually went out and voted no is something that I should look to as something positive. That it's a move forward.
And John, that's one positive, and the other positive is 5 years ago, the vapor industry, we had no representation, we had no money, and we weren't doing these lawsuits.
Yeah.
If you think about the victories throughout the country, the District Court of Appeals with some of these manufacturers, one that I am co-packed by through the Navarro organization, the USVA, and now the RFA, and now this California suit, we would have never, ever had enough money or resources to be able to do any of this. If you think about it now today, look what we're doing as an industry. I mean, we are really moving on. We've learned a lot. Our resources have grown. We've got a lot more friendlies versus enemies because of just being out and educating them and then listening.
Yeah.
And the countrywide, I mean, yeah, we lose some, but we win more than we used to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why I took it as a positive thing. It kind of brightened my day a little bit, looking at it that way, What is that term? Yeah. Looking at the glass half full or half empty? I don't know what the fucking term is.
You got it.
Tim will get it.
You had it.
So that's the way and it kind of brightened my day up a little bit. And I figured, okay, you know what? That's true. I'm going to look at it that way and feel that, maybe we are getting a step closer into getting the word out. I mean, basically that's what it all comes down to is, and you made light of it. I mean, we are an industry that, has a lot of battles all over the country. It's hard. We have a lot of battles and very little money. So, we have to pick and choose our spots. And
I can't think of another industry that has to have gone through this for so long. I really can't. I try to think about it and try to compare us to another industry. I mean, the craft beer industry lasted a very short period of time when they were under attack.
Vitamins went through a similar battle, but they ended up winning,
Yeah. And they went USP and,
Yeah. That's the only one I could think of. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of that's going through the same thing. And now look, vitamins on every fucking shelf,
And we just won't go away. So
we're not going nowhere.
We just keep building our army and our toolbox. I mean, we got lawyers now, so.
I am waiting for a house close enough to Nick's to move there, but that'll have to wait.
Well, you better get a move on because all of New York moved to Florida already.
I know. Shit, I might not have it.
So there may not be much room left for you because property values are going to start to go up exponentially in Florida right now.
Yeah, I'll just have to buy a hut. Yeah, they have been. Yeah, not as probably
and you know what? Those New Yorkers voted correctly.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it can't be any worse than here. I paid 79,000 for this house, and now it's over 550,000. So yeah, I don't think things are that much different in Florida than here in
No
California.
taxes.
No taxes, no taxes. But yeah,
And
we
no
do have
bad
the
friggin' vape
advantage.
bills.
Yeah, we do have the advantage here, which they tried to change a couple years back, was the property tax increase, which here it's like 1.5%, 2%, and they wanted to bring it up to 10, which literally no one could afford a house in fucking California if you brought it up to 10%. There's just no way. It's not New York. It's not Buffalo, where the average house is between 100, 150, 200,000. Sure, still a lot of money. 10% of $100,000. That's 10 grand you have to come up every year in property taxes.
Right.
So we have that advantage here in California.
So,
for now.
yeah. So I'll make one more comment on the political front, and
Yeah.
it is vaping related in that sense.
Yeah.
And I tweeted about it today. But there was a lot of recent kind of noise on the news stations. That Pennsylvania fight between Dr. Oz and John Fetterman. And I know it was there was a lot of character attacks and stuff like that. But I'm just going to say it's interesting to me because people on the conservative side would have just instantaneously thought well you got to get the Republican in there because we don't need the Democrat running the show. But the thing I thought was uniquely interesting in all this is that Oz lost. We all know that. So the guy that they bashed won. But here's the irony in it all: is that what I'm not. I don't claim myself to be a Democrat, and I honestly don't have any part of the Pennsylvania electoral outcome up there. So to me, it's not hurting my feelings one way or the other. But Dr. Oz, as of within the last last couple years, and even more recently, has really kind of flip flopped on his stance on vaping. If everyone will remember, Dr. Oz used to promote it. I remember him being on a show, being like, "Look at this great new device that'll help you get off of smoking," and blah blah blah. And then now, he's got a more cynical and negative, angle on vaping. Is it really safe? Blah blah. He's a heart doctor, but to think about it too is that he got up in front of those of that one symposium. I think it was businesses in Pennsylvania, and basically tried to sway them to look at adopting policies that would deny people employment if they were smokers. Like if it turns out they're a smoker, they don't get the job. And I thought to myself, that indirectly impacts vapors, because businesses just don't know the difference between vaping and smoking. They don't know the benefits between the two, so they're just going to view someone who vapes as being a smoker, which means vapors will not be able to be employed equally in that particular thing. Whereas Fetterman actually is a huge proponent of legalizing cannabis and THC and bringing that into the market, into the Pennsylvania landscape. And so while no one really knows what his pure stance is on vaping, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if he's open to the idea of bringing the market in on legalizing cannabis and things of that nature, which would include all the other formats, right? So the liquids and the edibles and things of that nature, that you would think that he would be a little bit more open-minded to fighting on the side of vaping, because you're looking at the double barrels of essentially criminalizing people in your own state if you ban it. So, in a weird way, the guy that you would think should be behind the helm and that would fight for vaping was actually the guy that was against it. And the guy that nobody wanted because of his own medical issues is the guy that is going to be probably the champion in that fight. So, congrats to PA for, inadvertently not voting in the guy who would have hurt the vapors in Pennsylvania.
That's right. Damn it. That's right. Well, the funny thing when you bring that up, the cannabis, that's the thing that they're okay with here in California. They're okay with flavored fucking gummy bears and flavored fucking marijuana, and they're okay with that. Just don't fucking give us flavored vape. Just give them all the fucking flavored HTC fucking gummy bears and all that other stuff. But God forbid vaping.
Well, that's because it chews into the MSA money. Marijuana and THC does not, because people that get high still smoke cigarettes.
What else are you gonna do when you're high? Eat and smoke. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for being on with us tonight. I know you got a lot going on over there in your state there with
it's kicking up. It's
Hurricane
kicking up out
what?
there.
What was it called again?
Nicole, she's kicking up right now.
Hurricane Nicole. Fuck it. Do you guys have like a list? Is there a list of like future ones, or they
It's
just
alphabetical? Yeah, no,
they
they send them out every year.
Okay,
it's alphabetical, and we're on end. But hurricane season ended November 1st.
Okay, yeah. So this is
so
oddball.
She's a tropical storm.
Yeah. So she does. Yeah. I always laughed at the names. And then my ex-wife's name was Katrina. She hated the fact that it was like the worst disaster in the United States. She goes, I got to live with this fucking name. Thank you for calling it Katrina.
Well, now it's Ian.
Yeah. Timmy, any goodbyes? As he blows out.
I'll say a hello and a goodbye almost at the exact same time. Great to see Luke in the chat after such a long time. It's great to always see you here, man. You're always welcome. So life must be busy or whatever, but come back every Wednesday. So it's good to see a familiar face after such a while.
Yeah, Luke.
But that said, no. 2 hours went by
quickly.
Like that.
Nick does that. Nick just makes the show flow when he's here.
Yeah.
We get off topic. We kind of walk around circles.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey,
Pam.
we had an attorney on at the gym. I mean,
yeah, you fucking pulled an attorney at the gym. That's Nick's got pull.
Yeah. Good to see you too, Pam. I didn't catch you there. I know people were jumping out. Anyway, but yeah, where are you going to find that on the internet? Get a lawyer at the gym on your show.
Yeah.
Only here on the Wednesday night.
Only on the Wednesday Night Live show that we pull shit like that. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of this show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see everybody next Wednesday, maybe with some good news. Maybe some good. I will try to find out. We will try to find out a little bit more about that
the lawsuit, the injunction lawsuit in California. We'll find out for you.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.